Hi, everyone, and welcome to the MenoLounge. I'm Julie Gordon-White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause, Energy, and Protein Bars, and I'm excited about our topic today. You know, we girls, we love our wine, etc., but we've got something better for us to talk about today. So I'm really excited. I'm going to bring up our guest. We are going to be talking menopause. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Shelley, I bet you're coming up right now. Just invited her here. There she is. Let me scoot back. Shelley!
Hi, how's it going?
My silver sister. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's a sunny day in Portland, although it's the pollening, as we call it.
Oh, the raining down of pollen everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I
We
might
don't
have
have
touched
that.
my desk. Yeah, that doesn't happen in Seattle.
No.
There we go. That's a little better.
In the Bay Area? No.
Oh,
Actually, we do a little bit. Yeah. You know, I hear a little feedback. I'm not sure if that's me or you. Let's see.
is it better now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
There we
good.
go. We don't make sure the audio is just right, so we do all the fun clips. Oh, I hear a little bit. Might be something at the bottom of your phone. I'm not sure. No, could be me.
At the bottom of my phone.
Sometimes when you have something at the bottom, it makes like a little feedbacky sound, but that's okay. Let's jump in. We've got people who want to hear about the mocktails. Shelley Elkovich, I'm so excited to talk to you because mocktails are all the rage for women in midlife. We are struggling metabolizing alcohol the way we used to, and then there's sort of that weird feeling like, oh, I know I'm not really drinking right now. You know, how do we get through that? You've got these incredible award-winning varietals, right? And so I'm really excited, but we need to just jump right in and talk about why you broke up with booze.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for me, it was a health issue. Very bizarre, unusual origin story in the sense that I was always a cocktail enthusiast and, really dug deep into making all my own, stuff from scratch, from our garden and from herbs. So like really clean. But, at this point I'm talking about alcohol, right? Then we took this whale watching trip on the Salish Sea in Washington State. Beautiful day, flat water, baby orcas. I mean, they were so close we could hear them breathing. It was really magical. And even though I hadn't had a drop to drink on the boat, hours later, it's like I was falling down drunk. I was falling, walking upstairs. Anyway, I was later diagnosed with a rare disease with a fancy French name, mal de débarquement. And it's a neurological thing, and it basically scrambles your balance. And so I broke up with booze to protect my brain health. Although I will say prior to that, I was perimenopausal and had been noticing the effects of alcohol, on my sleep, on things like night sweats, menstrual migraines. Like there was a lot leading up to it, but then my body was just like, oh no, you're not doing this anymore. And so that's when I really understood how few options there were for people who wanted something that's like, socially appropriate, occasion appropriate, and complex, but doesn't contain alcohol and that has really clean ingredients. So we launched For Better For Worse in spring of 2020.
Right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. Just before lockdown, exactly. And actually, I have a funny menopause story too.
Oh, great. Share.
My last cycle was March 12th. And then I flew my kids home. They were both in New York. They'd lost their work. New York was like, the most dangerous place to be in the United States. And my body was like, that's it. And that was my last period.
Wow.
Instant.
You remember?
Yeah, I do, because it was lockdown, and it was
it.
like, that was it. It was very sudden. It was interesting. My body was like, no, there's too much going on.
Too much. Like, we're done with that. We're finished. Here's the adult kids to prove it. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
Did you, I have to ask, going sideways here, did your hair become silver during the pandemic? Because that's when I let mine go silver.
Oh, no, I had a trip. Gosh, this was back when I was in grad school. I had a trip to Italy where I was in Slovenia, where I was gone for an extended period. And so I was letting my color grow out because I was traveling. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm done with this. And so I just went for it then. So that was like, 2017 or something. And it's gotten more silver, but
I love it. Exactly. So much freedom in that. Kind of like freedom in choosing mocktails, making that conscious choice. And, we're not against, wine. We have friends that have beautiful wineries, friends
Sure.
of menopause. But I find for myself, I prefer really to significantly minimize my alcohol intake. I don't feel well. It just hits me too fast. One drink is just not enjoyable. I'm a half a glass, like that's good.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm working hard on my gains and all the other things. I don't want that. So,
Yeah. Well, you're
um,
not alone. I mean, we know that like 94% of our customers are people who are moderating. And so, you know, what I started to realize, because we do know our customers really well, is that these are, women. And more often than not, they are coming to these non-alcoholic cocktails from a place of, their hormones. Sometimes it's pregnancy or pre-pregnancy, but
mm-hmm.
many women are perimenopausal, menopausal, and I'm hearing the same thing. I can't sleep,
Yeah.
it's exacerbating my symptoms, dryness, dehydration, so
Right.
people are really, using these drinks as a way to moderate most commonly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I know that you say even on your, when we were talking about how you have so many customers that are perimenopausal, menopausal women, and that you see us, right? You, as a postmenopausal women, you and I, we see women who are coming to where we are and the struggles that they're going through. So I think it's a wonderful option to still feel inclusive. When it's girls' night out or you're out. I love how you talked about your Sparky Mary. Is that what you said? You want to have fun, but not have that feeling of being left out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's celebration and inclusion and, still having an adult palate. And even if it's just a matter of slowing yourself down by alternating, you're not jarring yourself out of the occasion, the palate, by having to drink a soda or, a
Right.
mocktail that's like basically juice.
Well, can we talk about that? Because, yeah, I don't want to drink juice. I don't want, especially in midlife, I've really trained myself off of so much sweetness. And so
Right.
many of this sort of mocktaily, cocktaily, not that there's a lot of good ones out there, but they seem to have been formulated for a youngster who wants something super sweet, like can't
Yeah.
do it. So talk to
Yeah.
us about that. And I know you talked about the complex flavors of your varietals. Is that what you call them, varietals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or expressions, either one. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I often say kind of jokingly is that the business name for Bitter for Worse is an invitation and a warning, because it lets what our flavor profile and our palates are about. And it is about leaning into the more bitter, herbaceous, complex
Mm.
flavors. And, when you think about that, like juice and soda are something that you knock back really quickly. Alcohol, or our drinks are something that you let unwind and you savor. So I'm going for that kind of feel. We don't make mimics. We don't make drinks that are like, this is a gin and tonic or this is an NA whiskey. And, there's a place for those, and they're certainly intuitively easy to use. But I personally find that if I'm comparing drinks like that to their alcoholic analogs, you might be let down in your expectations. So I think about it a little bit differently. When I craft our recipes, I think about occasion and kind of flavor wheelhouse. So we have 4 expressions. We have our Rose City Fizz, which is kind of like a day drinking sparkler. It's fruit forward, but again, it's got that little bit of a bitter edge, good kick of ginger, and Douglas fir tips. And then we have Rose City Fizz, which is our golden hour aperitif, tasting notes of rhubarb, hibiscus, and bitter orange peel. And then I make a red wine alternative, the Saskatoon, which I call red wine's mysterious wiser friend. And that's not a de-alcoholized red, nor is it a red wine, but it's going to give you red wine vibes. And it's got like baking spice notes, central palate, and then the finish is this bright tannins from Douglas fir tips. So that's our like wine alternative. And then we have a potent, smoky spirit alternative that we call Smoky Number 56. And so I kind of made this family thinking about throughout the day and the kinds of things that I like to consume at different occasions with different flavor profiles. So that's kind of how I approached it.
I love it. And I love that way people don't think, oh, here's my swap for a
Right.
cosmopolitan, right? And then it's
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh,
not
that's
quite
not what
that.
that tastes like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned an ingredient, Douglas fir tips, is that
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
I think of Douglas fir, I think of a Christmas tree.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're not the best Christmas tree because they're a little floppy, but
They're the
yeah,
Charlie Brown tree.
yeah, yeah. Actually, yes, yes, that would be a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Yeah, so we forage Douglas fir tips in the Cascade Mountains here in Oregon, and they just give this like lovely, it's both the tannic quality and a little bit of a citrusy punch. So yeah, it's subtle. You're not going to go, oh, this tastes like a Christmas tree, but you can kind of identify it.
I love that. And for those just jumping in, we're talking with Shelley from For Better For Worse about mocktails and menopause, which that's just like a party in a box right there.
Totally.
And and with your being shipping now for coming on 3 years, 4 years, and so how do you find, especially women in midlife, how are they purchasing, using, celebrating with your beverages?
Well, I note that women I've got so many fun emails, honestly. Like that's one of the things that's great about, it was one of the silver linings of launching during the pandemic, actually. It felt like we sort of went through lockdown with our
Good
customers,
timing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hard timing in some ways and good timing in others.
Right.
But yeah, it was really great. So I get these emails. I mean, I get them like every week, people, talking about the way the drinks affect their lives. And one of them I remember that was really lovely. It was a woman who stopped drinking alcohol during lockdown and then was, life was opening up again. And she had some anxiety about how she was going to socialize. And she wrote, I realize I can have a cute little bar cart and I can put your drinks on it and I can make, fancy drinks. And because all of our drinks, while they're kind of ready to enjoy over ice, we have a lot of recipes. If you want to play around with a shaker and get, do an elevated recipe, we've got a lot of those. We also have, we welcome optional spikes if that's what people want to do. That was something I kind of stayed away from, honestly, at first, because I was like, well, the people who are underserved are the ones who are abstaining, whether it's just for a night or an hour or for life. That's my focus. But, I'm like, I'm not a mixers company is kind of how I was feeling. But then I started to realize that, it's really powerful if the default drink is non-alcoholic. So everybody has the same lovely beverage, but some people might have a little optional, tipple of gin or bourbon in theirs. So that kind of changed my tune for people who want to consume alcohol and want to spike our drinks. I think about it and I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense because then it's truly, very inclusive for everyone. But my focus is still, NA for me.
NA, non-alcoholic. But what I do like about that, isn't it interesting how the customers tell us how they want what they want? We have an idea as a founder, like it should be like this. And like, well, actually I want it like that.
Yeah.
And so, but that's a pretty cool idea. I mean, I think about women in midlife and how we eat. Maybe before we ate a whole bowl of pasta and then we had vegetables on the side and a little protein on the side. Where now we have a whole bowl of vegetables and a whole side of protein and a little bit of pasta, so but we still get the pasta we want. And so that's a neat idea that you can make your beverage the base, if you will. And if you want to have a little bit of on top, then you're not breaking the bank. You're not making yourself feel bad. So it's a way to have both. I like that too a lot.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is, we have a lot of amazing customers who are also sober and who are in recovery. And this, these are not examples of drinks for folks like that. But yeah, there are a lot of little hacks, actually. If people are looking at ways to moderate and reduce their consumption, one way is to go very low ABV by taking something that's very bold and has a lot of flavor and adding just a teeny bit of alcohol to it. Another fun thing is an atomizer. A bartender taught me this trick. So you take like a cute little spray bottle, take one of our drinks, and you could just mist the top with a little bit of your favorite spirit if you want to get that, olfactory
smell of that first taste.
Yeah, but without really having alcohol. That's another way to do it. Again, not for folks who are in recovery, but can work well as you're, thinking about ways to play with reducing your alcohol consumption.
I think that's brilliant. That's like olive oil, right? Like a spray is better than a blob.
I love a good glug though.
Yeah, I know, me too. Let's just turn serious just for a second. Women are, I think, one of the fastest growing areas of alcoholism. Life is stressful. We're turning to our glass of whatever, or 2 or 3, more and more often. So how
Yeah.
is that playing a part in the conversations that you're having about women deciding it's time for me, not just to be dry January, like to make this commitment to myself?
Yeah, I mean, it is a really serious issue, and we've seen, that spike over several years now. I mean, we know that alcohol misuse is the 4th leading cause of death, preventable death in the United States. So it's definitely a big deal. And yeah, we have, I mean, again, I have customers everywhere from the gamut who, they work really hard at sobriety as a way to save their lives, and other folks who are looking at, there's a lot of information coming out about alcohol, maybe not being so good for us.
Right.
Maybe it's a carcinogen, and
Right.
it's also an issue in terms of, just like I said, your sleep and hormonal symptoms. So yeah, we really have a range of folks who come at it from different angles. Whether it's dry January, sort of seeping into wholesome AF February, and then looking at dry July, sober October, or just really going for it and cutting back altogether. It's just, I think the most important thing for anybody who is not in recovery is to really just sit with yourself and figure out, where can you be the most successful in meeting your wellness goals? And is that an absolutist plan, like total abstention, or is it something that's more graduated? And, there's a different path for everyone.
Yeah, I love that. Like menopause, we're all different.
Yeah,
We
right.
got the core, but it's all the same.
Yeah.
But if nothing else, the sleep disruption barely makes it worth it. That's, we know that when we drink alcohol, we wake up in the middle of the night. Our glucose goes up. We have to go to the bathroom, like all the things. So
yeah,
it's not worth it.
Dr. Haver, the menopause expert, says you choose a drink or choose to sleep. Like, that's how bluntly she puts it.
Right. It's true.
That's definitely how it was for me. I mean, when I think about, I was lucky. I never really had hot flashes, but I did have night sweats, and I noticed it correlated with nights I had alcohol.
Yes.
So I was like,
correct.
That's something. Yeah.
Give us an idea, because calories matter to women in midlife, even though we try to break ourselves from that behavior. But tell us about, Jenny France says magnesium is the new alcohol. Tell us about calories per serving, kind of thing.
Okay. Well, it's funny. I actually, each one is different. So
okay, good. Did you bring a bottle? Share. Yeah.
This is Rose City Fizz, and per serving, we're looking at 6 carbs and 24 calories. So, it's not calorie free. It's not sugar free in the sense that, we have juices that contribute to these natural sugars and calories. But even spritz, I think, is the lowest carbs. That's like, 7. And we've also have little box cans. But yeah, so
we don't need to be afraid of carbs. We need carbs. Carbs are not the enemy.
Yeah.
And they're so low calorie. So that sounds amazing.
Yeah, we don't. They're also, the cleanest label in the category, in the sense that we use certified organic botanicals, no refined sugar, no lab-made ingredients, so no off-the-shelf extracts, no natural flavors. Natural flavors are sometimes tricky for people because of allergens, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at.
I love it. Really good. Really, really fun. Okay, so how about some tips for us? I know you have some tips around starting. I don't know. What did you decide we needed to know? I'm going to leave it open. I'm not going to tell any secrets. So I always love it when a guest shares 5 things that they want us to know.
I mean, of course, I went ahead and spilled the beans on one of them already, but I was thinking about hacks and tricks for moderation, or a path to abstention, whatever works for you. And so, we know, studies show that an adult, occasion appropriate alternative really helps people to stick with their wellness goals. So I would encourage people to find a drink alternative to whatever, whether it's wine or spirits, beer, whatever it is they usually have, and have that, arm yourself with that when you think you may not be able to follow through on your goals. Bars and restaurants are really good about making bitters and soda. If there's nothing on the menu that pleases you, if their idea of a non-alcoholic cocktail is a, virgin pina colada, which is, pineapple juice,
like I was going to say, a
you can
glass
always
of
get a
sugar.
bitters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a bitters and soda or something like that. So, alternating your drinks, find something that works for you. I mentioned the low ABV drink already, like taking a very complex drink that's interesting and then just adding a tiny bit of alcohol if you want that, or using the atomizer is another one for just that little spritz on the surface.
I love that. That's really fun.
Yeah, I think having designated alcohol-free days in your calendar and in your mindset, that you're like, well, this is a day that I'm not going to drink, even though I may have a social event. Sticking with the goal. I think telling someone about that goal, if you're there with a girlfriend, I'm not going to drink tonight, just so you know, can be helpful. I think keeping a sleep journal can be really helpful if you start looking for patterns on what might be disrupting your sleep. That would be a good one. And then I think starting some sort of little menopausal mamas social group with your friends where you can talk about what's up, what you're learning in terms of tools and tricks and products. Maybe it's MenoWell bars, maybe it's a book that you've just read or a podcast you've heard, and get together and have mocktails together while you're hanging out.
Yeah,
I
love that. Creating the occasion, bringing one of your bottles as a gift, I think is really cool. Like a 2-for-1. Bring one to leave and one to drink while you're there.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah,
I think that's because why not gift that idea to your host as well?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So those are awesome. I want to ask, sometimes it's hard to say, I'm not drinking tonight. That's what I hear. For me, I have alcoholism in my family.
Yeah, I do too.
It's just like, that's pretty easy for me to I'm not drinking. But for a lot of people, it's really difficult to push back. And then we have other people saying, so let's talk to them a little bit. Like, how can we help them have that? You sort of said some of the ways, but like that, kind of those words, that script. And then also, how about the folks who are saying, no, you can drink. Why aren't you drinking? Maybe we should just be talking to them, because I think that's the old coach in me. That's other people's stuff rising to the top when somebody declares, I'm not drinking. So this is not a judgment zone, but I think this is something that, because of the space we're talking about health, menopause, sleep, taking care of ourselves, but there is that sort of cloak of shame or not being comfortable when we make that declaration, because it's not January anymore. Okay. It's just February and I'm done, or I'm not having cocktails. So give us a couple more words for that woman who makes that declaration. And then the other person who, how can they receive that without making them feel bad?
Yeah. Well, I think, let's take the woman who's not drinking first. That's very much about personal style, right? And what you're comfortable with. So I would encourage, maybe you even say it out loud, practice it with a friend or your partner, and just look in the mirror, whatever, say, and it can be as simple as, no, thank you. I don't feel like it tonight.
We don't really need to have a full conversation about it in midlife.
No is a whole,
no is a full sentence.
Yeah, I know, but I will give you a tiny, my daughter is an actor, so she also works as a waitress, or has, and she told me about times when people would tell her they were feeling so pressured that they'd say, I'm going to order a gin and tonic so nobody gives me shit. Please just give me a tonic with lime. I'll pay you the same. And she would do it, but she'd like, man, you need new friends.
But that just tells the societal pressure around drinking.
Right. Huge. It's real. Yeah. So, I think finding the words that work for you, and that can be anything from, I'm making this healthy choice right now and I'm feeling really good about it, to no thanks, not into it, whatever. That's really personal. I mean, I think it's also fine to tell a white lie if that's what you need to do. Whatever it takes for you to meet your goals and feel supported. For the folks on the other end, I hope more and more people are realizing it's just not appropriate to pry and push like that, and it's no reflection on you and your choices either.
That's it.
So you don't have to say
Right.
anything. You don't have to be like, good for you, or what are your goals? You can just be like, okay, cool. What are you
Right.
drinking?
Right.
What else is there for you? What can I get you? And that's part of.
Oops. I just lost your audio. Shoot. Is that me? Did you get a message? Yeah. There you are. You're back now.
Disrupt an Instagram live. Okay, it wasn't ringing.
No
I had to
problem.
it off. But so I was saying that that's another part of being a good host is anticipating. There's always somebody these days who's not drinking alcohol, right? So having a thoughtful choice for them and making it really simple and not a big deal goes a long way for folks feeling included.
I like that.
And they're
And going
better
beyond
choices.
bubbly water.
Yeah, yeah, for
Really,
sure.
really good. I love that. No is a complete sentence, but sometimes we have to practice or just figure out what you're going to say that you feel comfortable with and just acknowledge that alcohol is a huge part of our society. We're socialized to drink, and it's okay to make a different choice. There's a whole spectrum
Right,
from
and it is changing.
it is changing.
Yeah,
It is changing. Well, thanks mostly to yummy alternative beverages, because before the options were slim to none.
right.
It was like water. Okay, I'll have water. Can you put a
Yeah,
lime in it, or something? But
yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah. It's
really
getting
cool.
there.
Okay, so where can we find all of the for better for worse
For bitter.
for bitter for worse beverages? I bet that. So we can grab them for ourselves. Where can we
So
go?
we are in select retailers nationwide. We have on our website, we have a stockist list that we keep up to date. We also sell direct to consumer. We're also on Amazon. So you can find us here and there.
I love it. So you can go on Amazon and you can add yours to cart, mine to cart, have MenoWell
Exactly.
bars, have For Better For Worse, and you're ready for your book club, girls' night out, like all the things ready to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's forbitterforworse.com. So easy to find.
ForBitterForWorse.com. Excellent. And if someone goes to ForBitterForWorse.com, is there a promo code maybe if they put MenoWell?
I was just thinking we should do that. We didn't talk about it in
Okay.
advance, but why don't we do MenoWell 15 for
Okay.
15% off?
Okay.
And
Great.
I'll
Great.
type
So
that
give
in as soon as we're done talking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, give Shelley a minute. And same thing, if you want to hop over to MenoWell and do For Bitter,
Okay.
should we just do it short?
Okay.
For Bitter, and you can grab a discount there too as well.
Great.
So really cool. I love what you're doing. I love that you're honoring women, not intentionally, but maybe intentionally, through your own breakup with booze story, to help women make a choice that they can still celebrate and have fun, be light, and be part of the conversation and celebration without feeling like, oh, I'm over here in the corner with my water. I really love that so much. So one last question before I let you go. I always ask my guests, what does the phrase MenoWell mean to you?
Oh, I like that. Well, I mean, I do think about strength and wellness during this phase of our lives. So I think that's what it is. It's about going, as we know, menopause is technically like a day, right? But this continuum, it's all about being well and being vibrant through that time. And I'm looking at your packages behind you, and I think that colorful, vibrant feel comes through as well.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, like I don't know about drink pairings in terms of how they would taste together.
Yeah.
But they
Which
look
one?
really nice together, right?
Which
Like, look
one
at the
is that?
colors. Oh,
Yeah.
this is Eva's Spritz. But I'm just saying, like, our colors
Yeah.
go nicely together, I think. But yeah, I don't know about flavor profiles, but I think our colors look nice.
We might have a perfect pairing in
Yeah,
there.
maybe
We'll
we'll
have to
do
try
some
that.
giveaway or something.
Yeah, I would love to. Super fun. Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed this conversation. Make sure you go to For Better For Worse, and then you can see where you can buy the product in store or on the website or on Amazon. Grab some MenoWell bars while you're there. And I'm just thrilled that we made this work, and I look forward to doing a giveaway or something fun, because what you're doing is so important for women in midlife and menopause, is supporting our celebration of life without making us feel wrecked afterward. So, Shelley, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it really, to me, it's also just it's basically a feminist position. You know, women in midlife are badasses, and we're at the height of our powers. And I want women to feel their best and feel seen.
I love it. Us too. That's why we're all aligned. Beautiful. Thanks for joining us, to be continued with more fun things. How's
Sounds
that?
great.
All right. Be well.
Thanks.
Thanks for
Have
being
a
here,
great one.
everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.